Hi everyone, it's Val here. It's week 8 and I'm wanting to work out this spread for my Hobonichi weeks. And you know that I am just doing all sorts of things in this sucker. So I hope that you all are inspired to create and not feel held back in any sort of way. And in particular this week, because I've really been focusing on using scraps and that sort of thing, when I do tap into some type of a scrap or ephemera or whatever I've got, whatever bits and bobs I've got around, I'm trying to make sure that I carry some of that over into the 52 pickup where I'm doing those cards and altering them. So sometimes you may see a few bits like this piece of the cherry blossom wood veneer. And what I was thinking I would do was use it like a stencil. And I got a little bit from that, but not a whole lot. I didn't expect it to be super crisp or anything just because of the nature of the mediums I'm using, but there was a little bit. It was enough for me to just start working off of that. I did prime that right side of the page because I had pre-primed the left as I was, for the most part, sticking to just arting on that side. And here I go again with more sprays, seeing if I can get a little bit more intensity and color variation, but meh, it is what it is. So I still wanted to add a quote to the right, so I just said, okay, let me stay more in this left side, and love my Dina Wakley stamps, just really hadn't been using them. So I thought I would come in and start with that, and some of my friends, they talk about how scary they feel like her line drawings are. I just wanted it so that I wouldn't sit there and overthink it like I did on the last time when I did the face. And it's funny, is like when I'm doing it for you all or someone's watching, it's like even if I'm not sitting there in front of you, in my mind, I'm thinking of you seeing it. And, hey, all of us have things that kind of shake us. But part of that for me is just not doing it enough. And I have sketches and things from many years ago, shoot, I guess like a decade plus now ago, and those look better than anything I ever do today. So that's just practice, right? So I don't know, what is it that you've practiced a lot at, or you used to practice, used to be really good at, now it's been different for you? Let me know. So this video is longer because I didn't want to take out the trials and tribulations of arting. Not because it's, oh, you did it wrong, but you're experimenting. You're not necessarily trying to think through every step when you really want to get into a creative flow. And for me, that was what was happening this day. Plus, there's a whole bunch of other kind of stuff going on. Some, somewhat, I don't want to say so much negative, but it was closer to the negative end, okay? And in my mind, I had that on my mind. And that's part of what drives me to want to go in art, is I need to get away from that. But it's like cooking a meal when you're mad. Sometimes when that sort of thing can happen when you're doing the art, right? Like you're not feeling it and it shows. So that was what was happening here, because I wanted to be real loose with this at first. And then, not even thinking about it, I took my pencil that is really good for going over acrylic and other mediums, and even like a gesso and that sort of thing, which can roughen up your page a bit. But I just totally forgot that, hello, this is water soluble, so anything you put over top of it is gonna smear and smudge. So as I started doing that, I thought, oh well, I can fix it a little bit. And it was like, girl, stop. You need to just start fresh. So that's what I did. I took that baby wipe, and you see, she just went back to that straight line art. And that was using, the Stays On ink pad, which is alcohol, not alcohol, but solvent based, I guess you could say. So because of that, that's a permanent stamp. Anyhow, that worked out perfectly for this, right? Because I'm going back and forth. And I just used that baby wipe kind of loosely around the edges for the quote-unquote cherry blossoms, because, I didn't want to completely do away with that. So anyhow, Go back in, and this time I'm like, okay, just go over the sketch with the paint where you want to add it. Of course, I'm making her tanner than normal, you would associate with Japan, but that's okay by me, all right? So did that. And this is where my challenges are going to benefit you. And I can at least show my appreciation for y'all watching these videos and listening to my rants and raves and watching me, take 2 steps forward and 2 steps back. This is where that pays off for you all. So for those who can comment early or who even listen this far into the video to catch it, I'm going to give away to 2 folks some Posca pens. Because at the end of the day, as cheap as I want to be sometimes with my supplies, some things you cannot be cheap with, y'all, okay? And acrylic paint pens is going to be one of those things. And what the heck, who cares if you paid, $10 for a set and got a great deal on it if you only get to use it one time? So I took some of my Stabilo crayons, and that's what I was using for the pink color on her and all that. But I mean, the minute you start trying to mess with microns or these, what do you call these other ones? Again, I'm losing my thoughts here. The Faber-Castell ones I'm using right now, pit pens. Those, you're just, over acrylic, it just is not a thing. Now, that pen right there, that Foodie Ball, that sucker does go over paint extremely well. But those particular pens, I have never seen them in any size smaller than a 1.5 millimeter. So you get those thicker lines. And when you're working maybe on a larger size project, or maybe it's like one of my Dina Wakley big old art journals, that's fabulous. In fact, that's who I learned about those pens from back in the day. However, you need to have a pit pen. So I ended up coming back in and using those. And the video would have been way too long. That's my knockoff pit pen. Now, granted, that came from Daiso, which is like a little Japanese Dollar Tree. But, again, not finding them in a smaller tip. And while I didn't mind it being bold and beautiful and bright for that right side, when you want to go do detail work, you need something smaller. So, that's like the closest thing I've gotten to a Posca pen that I've had a gajillion years and hasn't given out. But the giveaway is this. I'm going to give you a black and white Posca pen in a smaller millimeter, a millimeter that 7 millimeters when you're working on a small page will give you detail as if you were using something super duper fine point, but it's also large enough that, you're not going to be sitting there working forever because it's such a fine tip. So that's going to be my giveaway. I started going ham. I use liquid chalk paints. That was what it was looking like in those little tubes that look like mascara, not mascara, but eyeshadow or lipstick. Then went back with paint on her hair. I just killed the little girl before I could even get started. But again, and then even after I finished it, I touched it up some more. And you know what? When my pens come in, my smaller millimeter pens, I'm going to touch it up some more. It doesn't matter, y'all. It's 1 week, and you're going to push through and get into the next thing. And that's it. And you see progress. So hope you enjoyed that. Comment below if you're interested in those pens. And thank y'all for watching and sharing my process and not being so critical of me. Stop being critical of yourself too. And just get in there and try. Love y'all. Thanks. Bye.